always fight for what is right. If with danger and adventure they are men of might. Superman, the man of steel, performs super deeds with ease. Aquaman, the bold and daring, king of the seven seas. Coming from another planet, shoots above a foe. Nothing stops the Teen Titans anywhere they go. Blasted by the eyes who follow with the super speed. Against the force of evil, the Atom will succeed. Green Lantern's power ring can accomplish anything. Superman, Aquaman, all the superheroes are the Justice League of America.
Hi, welcome back to the Comic Book Show. I'm Emily, this is my dad Chris, and we're coming to you live from downtown Newcastle, Indiana. And now we're going to switch things up a little bit. Today we're going to show you the worst of the worst, then the best.
Yeah, but first. Yeah, last week we on the show we ruffled DC's feathers just a little bit. After giving away their big secret that, well, Black Hand is Green Lantern. Oops, I did it again.
Yeah.
And anyway, not just that, but the whole Flash storyline. I guess they're really scrambling to put something together. I don't know. You better do something with the Rogues, fellas, but the best thing you can do is get rid of your writers and artists on it, you know. But anyway, so I digress. You said we're going to switch things up this week, huh?
Yep.
What are we going to do first?
The most depressing book I have read.
Oh, it is the most depressing book. It's like a freaking vampire to a sunlight. Anyway, most depressing book is?
The Amazing Spider-Man, 685.
It's depressing, trust me. We begin with Spidey in Spidey armor. Oh, shades of Iron Man. I can't believe that. You know, who thought of that one? Fighting the Rhino with Silver Sable and the Black Widow. Not just those, you know, both women, if they didn't have red and silver hair, I would never know who each one was because, I mean, gee whiz, they look just the same. You know, they're fighting the Rhino. S.H.I.E.L.D. shows up, takes the Rhino away. I mean, anyway, Spidey and the Silver Spidey and Silver Sable. I wish it was a Silver Surfer. It'd be a lot better comic. Anyway, Spidey and the Silver Sable torture the Sandman, and this is no joke. They use acid boarding on him. Okay, to get information about Dr. Octopus. Now, let's skip to Dr. Octopus in the story. He's all grossed out with his armies of villains, S.H.I.E.L.D., assassins, etc., etc., all these bad guys. Now, Spidey, who's trying to be Batman, begins enlisting the aid of his own Avengers, B, C, D, E, F, all the way down to Z grade characters that nobody has ever cared about. Now, here's one of those major, I didn't see this coming. Let's see the shocked face. That, you know, Marvel does, and only the crappiest of Marvel writers do this. But here it is. He's recruiting these heroes while the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Defenders, even the Great Lakes Avengers is off planet. I didn't see that coming. Shocked face. But anyway, yeah, I didn't see that. Anyway, the end of the book has Doc Ock frying half the planet, just like we saw in Mystery in Space. And gee, that last Justice League show called, what was it? Doom? Oh yeah! Didn't Vandal Savage do that? Oh,
right.
Gee. Anyway, you know, it's Spider-Man states at the end, we failed. Oh yeah, Marvel. You failed.
Epically.
Epic fail. Ultra epic fail. I don't know how, you know, even worse than last week, how do you go from bad to worse? I mean, you have Hawkeye and Captain America, which was terrible. But now we got this, oh man, gosh, it's all coming up, you know?
Yeah.
Might need some Pepto-Bismol after this. Ugh. But anyway, you know, the art is terrible. Humberto Ramos and Victor Alazaba must have grabbed some Sharpies out of the drawer, watched some manga movies and manga cartoons, looked at some manga books and said, gee, how can we make this worse? But anyway, you know, craptacular. I mean, craptacular all the way. The Amazing Spider-Man is a shell of its former self. From long-winded dialogue to a Spider-Man I don't recognize. I mean, a Spider-Man that tortures people. Come on now. Marvel, are you out? Are you that far out of ideas? Do you and Quesada and the rest of them go to the mouse every week and say, "Gee, how can we make this worse? We just want to drive away the fans." And we ain't really thinking of anything original. We're just thinking of things that bore people to death. Anyway, I guess I can't expect too much from a guy like Dan Slott, who, how hard is it to write Ren and Stimpy? It's not. But anybody that can write one that's pretty humorless and unentertaining, as Mr. Slott did, well, he accomplished it. Not only was Ren and Stimpy terrible, I don't know, like I said, how do you write a humorless Ren and Stimpy? Out of everything, how do you write one? You know, this has got to be the worst book of the week. Worst book probably of the month. Even worse, Avengers and X-Men. And the sad part is, I like Spider-Man. I can tell you about the first 38 issues. I can tell you about the John Romita run. I can tell you about the Ross Andrew run. I can tell you about the Gil Kane run. I can tell you about the wonderful Ron Frenz run, the wonderful Todd McFarlane run, the wonderful Eric Larson run. And then we come to Mark, gee, I wish I had some talent, Bagley, who was one of the architects in destroying the Marvel Universe with his Gil Kane, Gil Kane light artwork that he tried to pull off as his own, which was just unbelievably bad. And, Mark, thank you. This is why DC's trouncing you guys. This is why DC has trounced you guys in the last 10 years. And why the fans go over there when they get sick and tired of Marvel. Anyway, unbelievable. I can't get over these comics. It's just bad. And I even went through and tried to find a Marvel book that was actually worth reading this week. There's not. Their continuity is killing them. Anyway, you want to go to the .5s next?
Yeah, let's just...
The middle of the ways. Because I got to get away from that. That should be burnt somewhere. People
I'll
should
do
take
it.
No, don't burn it. Might have to sell it. Anyway, the next one. The .5, now I gotta look at
Wrong
this
one.
Oh, that's alright, I'll take that one. Here, let me see that.
Oh, okay. Here you go.
How much time we got? We good? You sure? You sure it's 7? Not 8 this time? Okay. Anyway. The next one's X-O Manowar. The more I'd like to talk about this book and how that Valiant, it's kind of nice to see Valiant back, but then again, it's kind of one of those things you look at Valiant and say, wow, you guys were making, first issues of Magnus Robot Fighter and X-O Manowar, Magnus Robot Fighter, Dr. Solar, Harbinger, all these comics, at one point was worth hundreds of dollars because they were so rare that you now find in your quarter boxes at most conventions. Anyway, this right here was part of the brainchild of one Gareb Shamus, who started his Wizard magazine. And, I can't prove it. I've heard rumors that in his comic book shop, when he was starting Wizard and trying to make all of his money, he basically would jump the gun on these, and say they're worth $100 when, they really weren't. But the thing about Gareb and Wizard is if you look back at them, they really did play off these a lot. And they really did, if you looked in Wizard, CBG, nobody else had Valiants going at this high price. But anyway, let me digress. It's okay. It's not the greatest book in the world. The artwork is not fantastic. And it's kind of nostalgic to look back at X-O. He's got a little bit different of an origin, not that much. I can say if you're a Valiant fan, buy it. If not, skip over and get something else. There's a lot of good books this week. Right now, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back after
After these messages,
we'll be right back.